If a man and a wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same chances as children raised by just their father. Husband and wife raise their kid. The chance of this kid going to jail is the same as just the father raising his kids. The problem is the single mother without a father in the picture.
You want to keep the child, okay, but let's give that child a good father. I hate when women are selfish enough to put their own desire for having a kid over the life of that kid. God is good. God is good because Lord knows I should probably have like 3 or 4 kids right now. Fellas, remember this well. The only protection you need is God Himself.
I have some disturbing stats I want to share with you about fatherless homes. And by the way, some of the stats, I've seen this before. I'm going to tell you, when you read some of these stats, you're going to sit there and say, that is insane. By the way, these stats are from 2021 of the impact a father makes in a child upbringing, both a girl and a boy. Like I said, disturbing, but you will be shell shocked with the stats. If you get value from the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let me get right into it. The US has the highest rate of children living in a single parent household of any nation in the world. About 80% of single parent homes are led by single mothers, at a rate of 23% of children living with one parent and no other adult. The United States stands over 3 times the world average of 7% of children raised by one parent. For reference, the number stands at 3% in China, 4% in India. This is not an area we want to be competing with other countries, by the way. If there is a statistic to not be competing in, this is one of the statistics. China's at 3, India's at 4, the world's at 7. We're at 23% in America, zero bragging rights. This is the stat everybody wants to hide. And this is the stats where the side effects of this, we ain't going to see for 2 decades or 3 decades or longer. Takes a while to see the side effects. Let me continue. Even for children with a father present in the home, the average school-age boy only spends about 30 minutes per week with one-on-one conversations with his father. For comparison, the same boy, on average, will spend about 44 hours a week watching television, playing video games, and surfing the internet. In our house, there is no video games throughout the week. It's on the weekends. After you read 150 pages throughout the week, then you have the right to play video games for an hour or 2 on the weekend, and that's what you have to earn.
Shout out to single mothers, but there is just a man needs to see another man as a role model, and if that man is not spending at a sufficient amount of time with their kid and doing the discipline, because my mom was the main disciplinary, if that's a word, then yeah, man, the kid might be a little messed up. I, for one, was a little messed up. Shout out to my mother. But you need the father at the helm, right? The father, the disciplinary. Somebody help me out. You need the father to discipline the kid and instill his lives and beliefs and that, and his logical side of thinking. He needs to be there, right? I had my father around, but he didn't really hammer home just the other side, like just life as a man. And I think that would have been important to me. I think I would have been a little bit further ahead of my life, right? I wouldn't feel so coddled, right? I had my own period of depression. So, and that sucked. That put my life on hold for about 2 years.
90% of all homeless and runaway children, 63% of teen suicides, 85% of children and teens with behavior disorders come from fatherless homes. Let me read that stat to you one more time. 90% of all homeless and runaway children, 63% of all teen suicides, 85% of children and teens with behavioral disorder come from fatherless homes. That is a very, very big number. Next, fatherlessness likewise has a direct link to teen pregnancy and sexual activity. Roughly 70% of teenage pregnancies come from women raised in a fatherless home. 70% of teenage pregnancies comes from fatherless homes. 70%. That's a big number. And these same women have significantly higher abortion rates than women raised by both a father and a mother.
Dude, like, kids pick up on a lot of things, and if you say don't do this, don't do that, and then they see you doing that same thing, look, they're gonna feel like your advice ain't and look how you're turning out. It's messed up. You need to pick a good guy who's gonna stick around. All right, ladies. Look, I get it. I get it. If it's for religious reasons or whatever, maybe you always just want a kid and you want to keep the child. Okay, but let's give that child a good father. I hate when women are selfish enough to put their own desire for having a kid over the life of that kid. If that daughter is going to see how her mother doesn't have any man in her life, what's going to stop her from going, worst case scenario, I just have to, raise my kid on my own. Look how well my mother's doing it. If she could do it, I can do it. And she's not, and that single mother may let's say that single mother is telling her the right advice. You need to have a good man with you, right? You need to give that kid a good father, blah blah blah. At the back of her mind, she's gonna go, well, it worked out for you, right? No, no, little heifers, put a condom on.
On the whole, fatherless kids are 20 times more likely to be incarcerated and 11 times more likely to exhibit violent behavior than children from two-parent household. 20 times more, okay? 20 times more. If a man and a wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same chances as children raised by just their father. You
Uh-oh.
may already be blown away by the stats before, so maybe come back and let me read this to you and brace for impact if you
You're not
missed it.
supposed to
Let
tell
me
them
read it
that.
one more time. Listen, just stay with me. Don't get distracted. Stay with me. Listen. If a man and a wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same chance as children raised by just their fathers. Husband and wife raise their kid. The chance of this kid going to jail is the same as just the father raising his kids. The problem is the single mother without a father in the picture that can sit there and discipline the kids, give them hope, values, principles, all the other stuff. We play different roles. This is statistic. If somebody's watching this saying, oh my God, you're discounting women, you're discounting mothers, go get upset at the stats, not at me. This is stats. You can't get upset at 3 times 3 is 9. That's stats. I'm giving you stats that's being
Fuck,
given
three
to us
times
by
three
the
is nine.
government because they have access to these stats. This is disturbing. Let me continue. Girls with no fathers have lower self-esteem. We can lower crime, lower mental issues, help the economy, lower suicide rates, and decrease homelessness by bringing back the family nucleus. There are things that my wife can do as a mother that I can't do. There's things she can bring that I can't bring, but there are things I can do that she can't do. So now you may say, well, Pat, I agree. I do agree. We can lower this. We can, but then how come it's not happening? And here's the other question: who's to blame? Who do we blame with this? Now you may be listening to this saying, well, it's got to be the husband and wife's fault. It's got to be the man and the woman's fault. Fine. How come it's not the same ratios around the world? Why is U.S. fatherlessness at 23%? Everywhere else is 7% average. So is it really the mom and dad? So how about the mom and dad in India? How about the mom and dad in China? How about the mom and dad in Germany? How about the mom and dad in Brazil? How about the mom and dad in other places? Why are we at 23%? How did this happen? Was it like this before? Is it an evolution? Is it mainstream media? Is it Hollywood? Is it the fact that parents are afraid of parenting because everybody is so much involved? You can't do that to your kid. You can't do this to your kid. You can't discipline your kid like that. Whose fault is it? It's someone's fault.
At the top of my head, yeah, I do. I want women to choose better men who are going to stick around, but at the same time, men should never abandon their kids. At the very least, they should be able to financially support and be in their kids' life consistently. Um, but let's look at society today. God is good. God is good because Lord knows, I should probably have like 3 or 4 kids right now. At least I hope. I hope not. God, please, 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 please continue to help me, fellas. Remember this well. The only protection you need is God Himself. No, strap up, put a condom on. Um, but I say that to say that I feel like I can get away with it. I am not prioritizing family. Mm-mm. Um, these ladies aren't resisting. If I make sexual advances, chances are it's gonna happen. Um, like it doesn't take more than 2 dates for me to get some ass. Okay, it's pretty easy, fellas. I don't know why you're struggling, but ass is cheapest it's ever been. And ladies, they don't even care. They don't even care if you go in raw. You see how crazy that is? You see how I'm increasing? I'm better now. I've grown. I'm better now, right? This is a long time ago, right? I've learned my lesson since. But you see how nobody's prioritizing the consequences of family. It's crazy. So going on these dates, and I make it known that I want something casual. Um, they're I mean they're cool. They're cool, right? You add a couple of drinks in there, and like everybody's just is just living in the moment. Nobody cares about consequence.
So the next time you see a father that takes their job as a father seriously, you can actually say, you know how we see somebody in military uniform? Guess what you say? Hey, thank you for your service. What do you mean? Hey, man, stats 23% fatherlessness. And you're there with your kids. Thank you for your service. Being a father is tough. Good for you guys, husband and wife, trying to make this work. They're just tough. Salute. You make my life better and safer by raising good kids. Salute to you. Maybe. Maybe we ought to give those awards. Maybe we need to kind of recognize Father of the Year award, a bigger deal. Man, if I ran a state or a country, we would be recognizing certain behavior and turning
Father's
great
Day
fathers
isn't
and
as
mothers
big a
into
deal
heroes.
than
Into
Mother's
heroes.
Day.
Because God knows their job is hard, very hard. Not, making their job harder, not recognizing the guys that are doing a good job, just kind of winging it, which is the way we're doing it right now. Stats don't favor us. We got some
Mothers
work
will
to do.
celebrate
This is an
themselves
area,
on Father's
well, I
Day.
will very comfortably say America's got a lot of work to do. We've stepped away from values and principles and we're kind of winging it.